Chosen one, this is not random. This is not coincidence. This is a divine interruption. What you are about to hear was hidden from you on purpose, because only the spiritually chosen are tested like this, and only the awakened will recognize it. If you feel something stirring in your spirit right now, if your chest feels tight, if your soul feels exposed, that's because this message is for you. You were never just struggling, you were being tested. Chosen one, you thought it was temptation. You thought it was weakness. You thought it was a private battle. But it was never private. It was never casual. It was never accidental. This was warfare. Spiritual warfare. And you were being watched. The test wasn't about pleasure, it was about power. Chosen one, this was never about desire. It was about your discipline. It was about your dominion over self. Because whoever controls your body controls your mind. And whoever controls your mind controls your destiny. The enemy knew that. So the attack came through desire. Not fear, not pain, but pleasure. Why chosen ones are targeted through desire. Chosen one, your spirit carries authority. Your presence shifts rooms. Your energy disrupts systems. That makes you dangerous to the darkness. So you weren't attacked with suffering. You were attacked with softness, comfort, escape, temporary satisfaction. Because the enemy doesn't need to destroy you, only delay you. This was a monitoring phase, not just a temptation phase. Chosen one, you weren't just being tempted. You were being observed. Your reactions were being recorded. Every moment you resisted, it was noted. Every moment you fell, it was noted. Every moment you fought back, it was noted. Heaven was watching. Darkness was watching. Your soul was being evaluated. The test was designed to drain your spirit. Chosen one, sexual energy is creative energy. It is life force energy. It is divine power when disciplined. That's why the enemy tries to waste it. Drain it. Scatter it. Because when your energy is scattered, your focus is blurred, and your calling becomes harder to hear. Why you felt ashamed after, but not at peace. Chosen one, pleasure gave you a moment. But peace never followed. Because peace only follows alignment. Shame came after. Guilt came after. Emptiness came after. That wasn't punishment. That was your spirit rejecting misalignment. That was your soul saying, this is not who you are. The battle against lust, it was against your identity. Chosen one, lust was just the weapon. Your identity was the target. Your destiny was the prize. Because once you forget who you are, you start settling for what you're not. And the enemy wins without fighting. This was a war for your self-perception. A war for your self-worth. A war for your future self. Every fall was a lesson, not a failure. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You were not weak, you were learning. You were not broken, you were being sharpened. Every fall revealed where your spirit was vulnerable. Every mistake showed where healing was needed. Every relapse exposed what still needed light. And now you see it. Now you feel it. Now you're awakening. This test exposed who you are when no one is watching. Chosen one, real character isn't built in public. It's built in silence. It's built in private decisions. Who you are alone determines who you become in destiny. And this test showed you your true battlefield. Not the world, not society, but your inner self. The enemy attacked the unchosen like this. Chosen one, ordinary souls aren't tested this way. They aren't pressured this intensely. They aren't targeted this strategically because they aren't carrying divine assignments. They aren't carrying spiritual authority. They aren't carrying kingdom responsibility. You are. That's why the pressure was heavier. That's why the war was deeper. This was a filter, not a punishment. Chosen one, this test wasn't to destroy you. It was to filter you, to separate who is called from who is comfortable. Many fall and stay fallen. You fell and started questioning. You fell and started searching. That's the difference. That's the awakening. That's the calling activating. The moment you started RESISTING, everything shifted. Chosen one, the moment you fought back. The moment you said, enough. The moment you chose discipline over desire. Heaven shifted. Your energy shifted. Your timeline shifted. Because resistance is power. And power always triggers promotion. Even when you can't see it yet. The enemy tried to tire you, not tempt you. Chosen one, the goal was exhaustion. Not satisfaction. Not pleasure. Fatigue weakens discernment. Fatigue weakens boundaries. Fatigue weakens resistance. That's why the battle felt repetitive. That's why it felt endless. That's why you felt tired, not fulfilled. This was your spiritual stamina test. Chosen one, this wasn't about one moment. It was about endurance. It was about how long you could fight. Not how perfect you were. Not how clean your record was. But how strong your spirit became. And you're stronger now. Wiser now. More aware now. The test exposed your true hunger. Chosen one, you thought you were craving pleasure. But you were actually craving connection. Purpose. Peace. Desire was just a mask. Loneliness was the root. Spiritual hunger was the core. And now you're waking up to that truth. This was a wake-up call, not a setback. Chosen one, this wasn't the end. This was the beginning. The beginning of self-mastery. The beginning of clarity. The beginning of spiritual authority. The beginning of dominion over your flesh. And dominion is a sign of chosen status. The fact that you feel convicted proves you are called. Chosen one, unchosen souls feel nothing. They feel no conflict. They feel no resistance. But you felt tension. You felt guilt. You felt unrest. That's not weakness. That's conscience awakening. That's spirit activating. This was your shadow initiation. Chosen one, every chosen soul must face their shadow. Their weakness. Their hidden struggle. Not to be destroyed by it, but to master it. To integrate it. To rise above it. And you are in that phase right now. The war was never against your body, it was for your soul. Chosen one, your body was just the doorway. Your mind was the battlefield. Your soul was the prize. That's why this battle felt spiritual. That's why it felt heavy. That's why it felt deeper than pleasure. Because it was. You were being prepared for authority, not comfort. Chosen one, authority requires discipline. Leadership requires self-control. Calling requires sacrifice. This test was shaping your spine, strengthening your spirit, hardening your resolve. Because soft spirits can't carry heavy assignments. The moment you realized it was warfare, you won. Chosen one, awareness is victory. Understanding is power. Recognition is liberation. The moment you saw this as spiritual warfare, not a personal flaw, not a character defect, you stepped out of shame and into strategy. This is why you feel different now. Chosen one, you don't desire the same things anymore. You don't chase the same distractions. You don't resonate with the same energy. Because something in you shifted. Your spirit matured. Your awareness deepened. You outgrew the battlefield and stepped into authority. The watching has ended. The promotion has begun. Chosen one, the monitoring phase is over. The evaluation is complete. The test has been logged. Now comes elevation. Now comes alignment. Now comes acceleration. Not because you were perfect, but because you became conscious. Your energy is now being redirected, not wasted. Chosen one, what once drained you will now fuel you. What once weakened you will now strengthen you. Your creative energy is being redirected. Your spiritual power is being reclaimed. Your focus is being restored. This is transformation. This is why you feel called to more now. Chosen one, you're no longer satisfied with surface-level living. You crave depth, truth, purpose, because your spirit remembers who you are, and your soul is pulling you back to alignment. That hunger is divine. You were never broken. You were being built. Chosen one, you weren't damaged. You were being shaped. You weren't weak. You were being strengthened. Every struggle was a sculpting tool. Every temptation was a refining fire. Every fall was a training ground. And now you're rising. This message is your confirmation. Chosen one, if this message pierced your spirit, it's because your test was real. Your battle was real. Your calling is real. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. This was confirmation. Your next level requires a new you. Chosen one, your next season demands discipline. Your next assignment requires clarity. Your next calling requires mastery. And you are stepping into that now. Not someday. Not later. Not after healing. Now. You are not disqualified. You are designated. Chosen one, your past does not cancel your future. Your struggle does not erase your calling. Your mistakes do not remove your anointing. They refine it. They strengthen it. They prepare it. You are still chosen. This is your moment of alignment. Chosen one, you are aligning with your higher self, with your divine purpose, with your spiritual authority. And alignment always feels like discomfort before peace, pressure before promotion, war before victory. But you are here. If this message resonated, it's because you passed. Chosen one, if this awakened something in you, if this stirred your spirit, if this exposed a truth, that's because you passed. Not perfectly, but consciously. And consciousness is the gateway to power. This is your call to rise, not return. Chosen one, do not go back to who you were. Do not shrink to who you outgrew. Do not surrender what you awakened. Rise. Stand. Walk forward. Your spirit is ready. If you felt seen, it's because you were. Chosen one, you were seen in your struggle, seen in your silence, seen in your battles, and now you are being called forward. Not judged, not condemned, but activated. Like this video, if your spirit felt this message. Chosen one, if this message reached your soul, if this spoke your truth, if this revealed your battle. Like this video, let your spirit be counted. Comment, I am rising, if you're ready for your next level. Chosen one, declare it. Write it. Seal it. I am rising. Because words activate realities. Subscribe to The Chosen Era. Your awakening continues here. Chosen one, this is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of your elevation. This is the beginning of your authority. Subscribe to the chosen era. Because your awakening has only just begun, the shift you feel is not random, it's a result. Chosen one, you didn't just wake up different one day. This wasn't a mood change. This wasn't burnout. This was the after effect of warfare. This was the residue of resistance. This was the imprint of growth. When a soul survives spiritual war, it doesn't return to the same state. It evolves. You can't go back even if you try. Chosen one, even if you wanted to return to old habits. Your spirit won't let you. Your conscience won't allow it. Your awareness won't forget. Because once you see the battlefield, you can't pretend you're just in a playground. Once you recognize the war, you can't romanticize the weapon. You outgrew what once controlled you. This is why old pleasures no longer satisfy you. Chosen one, what once gave you a rush, now gives you a void. What once felt exciting, now feels empty. That's not depression. That's detachment. That's your spirit withdrawing from what no longer aligns. Your appetite changed because your identity changed. The test broke the chains, not your spirit. Chosen one, this battle didn't weaken you. It exposed your chains. And once chains are exposed, they can no longer hide. Awareness breaks bondage. Light dissolves control. And truth dismantles cycles. You are no longer blind. And blindness was the enemy's greatest weapon. This is why you feel called to purity, not perfection. Chosen one, purity is alignment. Not flawlessness. Not sinlessness. It's choosing what feeds your spirit, even when your flesh resists. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. And that choice is the signature of the chosen. You were being trained for self-mastery, not self-denial. Chosen one, this wasn't about suppressing yourself. It was about mastering yourself. Not rejecting desire, but governing it. Because a chosen soul doesn't kill desire. They redirect it. They discipline it. They transform it into purpose. The war taught you how to say no, and that changed everything. Chosen one, before this, no felt heavy. No felt restrictive. No felt lonely. Now no feels powerful. Now no feels protective. Now no feels like authority. Because every no to the flesh is a yes to the spirit. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are in command. Chosen one, the internal chaos is quieting. The mental noise is fatting. The emotional turbulence is settling. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are leading yourself. The enemy lost the access point. Chosen one, access was never through force. It was through agreement, through consent, through unconscious participation. And now that you are conscious, access is denied. Not because the enemy stopped trying, but because you stopped opening the door. This is why your dreams are shifting. Chosen one, your dreams are no longer random. They feel symbolic. They feel intense. They feel prophetic. Because your subconscious is realigning. Your spirit is communicating. Your soul is processing its transformation. Dreams become messages. When awakening begins, you are being prepared for visibility, not hiding. Chosen one, you weren't purified to disappear. You were refined to be revealed. Not to retreat, but to rise. Visibility requires integrity. Influence requires discipline. Leadership requires self-governance. And this test was your training ground. The war ended, the mission begins. Chosen one, survival mode is over. Reaction mode is ending. Transformation mode is activating. You are no longer just resisting temptation. You are stepping into purpose. You are no longer just surviving. You are aligning. And alignment is the doorway to destiny. You are no longer running from yourself. You are meeting yourself. Chosen one, you used to escape through desire, through distraction, through stimulation. Now you are sitting with yourself, facing yourself, meeting yourself. And what you're discovering is not weakness. It's power. The stillness you feel is not emptiness. It's peace. Chosen one, silence no longer feels uncomfortable. Stillness no longer feels lonely. Being alone no longer feels heavy. Because your spirit has learned how to dwell with itself, how to exist without escape. And that is mastery. This is why you feel drawn to depth, not distraction. Chosen one, shallow conversations drain you now. Surface-level entertainment feels hollow. Noise feels irritating. You crave depth, truth, meaning, because your spirit is no longer entertained by illusions. It is hungry for reality. You are no longer seeking relief. You are seeking alignment. Chosen one, you no longer want to feel better. You want to be better. You want to be aligned. Relief fades. Alignment remains. And you chose the permanent over the temporary. That is evolution. The test taught you where your power lives. Chosen one, your power was never in your will alone. It was in your awareness, in your discipline, in your connection to the divine. Now you know where your strength comes from. Not from avoidance, but from consciousness. You have moved from reaction to responsibility. Chosen one, you no longer blame your urges. You no longer excuse your impulses. You no longer surrender to emotional waves. You take responsibility. You take ownership. You take authority. And authority is the language of destiny. This is why your energy feels different to others. Chosen one, people feel something around you now. They can't explain it. They can't name it. But they sense it. It's not arrogance. It's not intensity. It's presence. Presence is the signature of alignment. You are no longer easy to manipulate. Chosen one, emotional triggers don't control you anymore. Loneliness doesn't dominate you anymore. Boredom doesn't rule you anymore. Because you recognize the patterns. You see the traps. You sense the setups. And awareness dissolves manipulation. The war REVALED, your resilience. Chosen one, you didn't collapse. You didn't surrender. You didn't disappear. You fought quietly. You resisted silently. You endured privately. And resilience is the backbone of chosen ones. You are not who you were, and you never will be again. Chosen one, that version of you is gone. Not dead. Transformed. You carry the lessons. You carry the wisdom. You carry the scars. But you no longer carry the chains. And that is liberation. This is the era of self-governance. Chosen one, no one else controls your choices now. No impulse commands you. No craving dominates you. You are governing yourself, leading yourself, directing your energy. And self-governance is the foundation of spiritual authority. You were not DELAYED. You were being developed. Chosen one, time wasn't wasted. Energy wasn't lost. Purpose wasn't abandoned. You were being developed, conditioned, prepared. Some seasons look like stagnation, but they are actually incubation. The war took you through your lowest self, so you could meet your highest self. Chosen one, you had to see what you were capable of. Both light and shadow. Both discipline and desire. Both strength and struggle. Because you cannot master what you haven't faced. And you cannot lead what you haven't understood. Now you understand. You no longer run from conviction, you run toward it. Chosen one, conviction no longer scares you. Correction no longer threatens you. Truth no longer offends you. Because conviction is not condemnation. It is direction. And direction leads to destiny. You have outgrown the need for escape. Chosen one, you no longer need to numb yourself. You no longer need to distract yourself. You no longer need to avoid yourself. You can sit with your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit. And that is emotional maturity. This is why your bondris feels stronger now. Chosen one, you no longer negotiate with temptation. You no longer debate with impulses. You no longer entertain what weakens you. Your boundaries are no longer reactions. They are decisions. And decisions create destiny. You are no longer seeking validation. You are seeking vision. Chosen one, you don't crave approval like before. You don't chase attention like before. You don't seek confirmation like before. You seek clarity, direction, purpose, because validation fades, but vision sustains. This is why your circle is chang. Chosen one, some people no longer resonate with you. Some environments no longer feel safe. Some conversations no longer feel aligned. That's not rejection. That's redirection. That's your spirit protecting your growth. You are entering your era of clarity. Chosen one, confusion is dissolving. Fog is lifting. Noise is quieting. You are beginning to see clearly. Not just the world, but yourself. And self-clarity is the gateway to purpose. This is the aftermath of war, and you survived. Chosen one, you walked through fire. You walked through temptation. You walked through inner conflict. And you are still standing. Still breathing. Still awakening. Which means the war did not break you. It revealed you. You are no longer driven by urgency. You are driven by intention. Chosen one, you no longer rush toward pleasure. You move with purpose. You pause before reacting. You think before acting. Urgency once ruled your decisions. Now intention guides your steps. And intention is the language of the awakened. This is why your desires feel cleaner now. Chosen one, your cravings no longer feel chaotic. They feel refined, focused, aligned. Not because desire disappeared, but because desire matured. It evolved from hunger into direction. And direction is power. You are learning to sit with discomfort, and that is strength. Chosen one, you no longer run from tension. You no longer flee from unease. You no longer escape emotional pressure. You sit with it. You breathe through it. You observe it. And that ability builds emotional authority. The war trained you to pause, and pause is power. Chosen one, before this, reaction felt automatic. Impulse felt uncontrollable. Now you pause. And in that pause, you choose. That pause is not weakness. It is mastery. You are no longer slave to your moods. Chosen one, your emotions no longer own you. They no longer drive your actions. They no longer dictate your decisions. You feel, but you do not follow blindly. You observe, but you do not surrender. And that is emotional sovereignty. This is why your inner world feels quieter. Chosen One, chaos is fading. Noise is dissolving. The internal storm is calming. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. Silence inside is a sign of alignment. You are learning the language of your soul. Chosen One, you are beginning to understand yourself. Your triggers, your wounds, your patterns, not to shame them, but to heal them, not to suppress them, but to integrate them. This is inner mastery. You no longer feel lost, you feel led. Chosen One, even when you don't have all the answers. You feel guided, directed, anchored, not by the world, but by something deeper. That guidance is your spirit awakening. The war taught you discernment, and discernment is protection. Chosen One, you can now sense energy. You can feel intentions. You can recognize traps before they spring. Not because you're paranoid, but because you're perceptive. Perception is spiritual armor. You are no longer afraid of your depth. Chosen One, you used to hide your intensity, your thoughts, your emotions, your depth. Now you embrace it. You honor it. You understand it. Because depth is not darkness. It is awareness. This is why you no longer fit in shallow spaces. Chosen One, small talk feels exhausting. Surface connections feel empty. Entertainment without meaning feels draining. You crave conversations that awaken, spaces that heal, connections that elevate. Because your spirit is no longer comfortable in shallow waters. You are no longer trying to escape pain. You are TRNSMUTNG it. Chosen One, pain no longer scares you. You no longer run from it. You transform it. You turn wounds into wisdom, struggles into strength, loss into leadership. This is alchemy. You have stopped BLAMING and started OWNING. Chosen One, you no longer blame circumstances. You no longer blame people. You no longer blame the past. You take ownership. You take responsibility. You take control. And control is not dominance. It is sovereignty. You are no longer seeking distraction. You are seeking truth. Chosen One, you are not looking to be entertained. You are not looking to be numbed. You are not looking to escape. You are looking to understand, to heal, to align. And truth is uncomfortable, but it is freeing. This is why your BOUNDRIS feel non-negotiable. Chosen One, you no longer bend your standards. You no longer lower your frequency. You no longer compromise your peace. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. Awareness protects energy. You are no longer trying to be LIKED. You are trying to be ALIGNED. Chosen One, approval no longer drives you. Validation no longer rules you. Popularity no longer seduces you. Alignment is your priority. Peace is your currency. Integrity is your compass. And that is evolution. You are learning to trust your intuition again. Chosen One, you silenced it once. Ignored it once. Doubted it once. But now you listen. You feel. You follow. Because your intuition is not imagination. It is remembrance. The war taught you the difference between comfort and peace. Chosen One, comfort numbs. Peace heals. Comfort distracts. Peace aligns. Comfort is temporary. Peace is permanent. And now you choose peace. You are no longer running from your shadow. You are integrating it. Chosen One, you no longer deny your darker sides. You don't suppress them. You understand them. You bring them into the light. You learn from them. You integrate them. And integration creates wholeness. This is why you feel whole, even when life is not perfect. Chosen one, you are not complete because life is easy. You are complete because you are aligned. Wholeness is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of awareness. And awareness is your new foundation. You are no longer afraid of your calling. Chosen one, once you feared responsibility. Once you feared leadership. Once you feared your own power. Now you accept it. You step into it. You embody it. Because you are no longer afraid of who you are becoming. This is why you feel a pull toward service, not escape. Chosen one, you want to help now. Heal now. Guide now. Not from ego, but from empathy. Your suffering taught you compassion. Your battle taught you understanding. And now you want to lift others. You are no longer waiting to be saved. You are becoming the savior of yourself. Chosen one, you no longer wait for rescue. You no longer expect miracles without effort. You no longer hope for change without action. You move. You choose. You transform. And self-rescue is the birth of leadership. This is why you feel uncomfortable with mediocrity. Chosen one, average feels heavy now. Settling feels painful now. Stagnation feels unbearable now. Not because you are arrogant, but because you are aware. Awareness cannot tolerate stagnation. You are entering your era of embodiment. Chosen one, you are no longer just learning truth. You are becoming it. You are no longer just hearing wisdom. You are living it. You are no longer just awakening. You are embodying. And embodiment is the final stage of transformation. The war did not just change you, it initiated you. Chosen one, you didn't just survive. You were initiated. Initiated into discipline, into awareness, into authority. This was not survival. This was initiation into power. You are no longer fragile, you are flexible. Chosen one, you no longer break under pressure. You bend. You adapt. You adjust. Flexibility is not weakness. It is intelligence. And intelligence is strength. This is why life feels heavier and lighter at the same time. Chosen one, responsibility increased. But clarity increased too. Awareness expanded. But confusion decreased. You carry more. But you feel freer. That paradox is awakening. You have left the phase of questioning. You have entered the phase of knowing. Chosen one, you no longer ask, why me? You now ask, what now? You no longer doubt your calling. You explore your mission. You no longer question your path. You walk it. And walking is power. You are no longer reactive. You are responsive. Chosen one, reaction is unconscious. Response is conscious. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. And you are no longer automatic. You are intentional. This is why your presence feels different to your past self. Chosen one, if your past self met you today, they wouldn't recognize you. Not because you changed your face, but because you changed your frequency. And frequency changes everything. You are no longer waiting for the right time. You are CRETNG it. Chosen one, you no longer delay growth. You no longer postpone healing. You no longer wait for perfect conditions. You act. You move. You align. Because alignment creates timing. You are no longer afraid of failure. You are afraid of stagnation. Chosen one, failure no longer scares you. Staying the same does. Because you now understand. Failure teaches. Stagnation kills. And growth is life. This is why you feel a stronger connection to God now. Chosen one, not because you became perfect, but because you became honest. Honest about your struggles. Honest about your weakness. Honest about your need. And honesty creates intimacy with the divine. You are no longer hiding from your purpose. You are stepping into it. Chosen one, you no longer avoid responsibility. You no longer fear your assignment. You no longer shrink from your destiny. You step forward. You rise. You align. And alignment is destiny in motion. Chosen one, this is your moment. Do not ignore it. If this message pierced your spirit, it's because your awakening is real. Like this video if you refuse to stay asleep. Comment, "I am rising," if you are done with your old self. Subscribe to The Chosen Era if you are ready to walk in your divine authority. This is not entertainment, this is activation. This is not motivation, this is transformation. This is not coincidence, this is your calling.